Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, Atypical Security Guard. I want to welcome you to today's broadcast. Today, we're going to be answering a subscriber question. This came from John Gonzalez 5593. I want to thank you so much for your question. But he asked, maybe you can give some advice. I'm a captain for a security company, and at one time, I've had sent some of our guards home for doing things like sweeping, taking out the garbage, leaving their post to be handing out drinks to customers. That is not part of our job description. Now, when we have our meetings with our owner and our commanders, they all gang up on me saying that I go overboard and that I'm the bad guy. They need to own up to their behaviors and actions and not be repeating the same mistakes. Now, I can't fire them without the commander's consent. Some of them I've terminated in the past only for them to be rehired, and they still carry their anger towards me. I'm tired of them getting away with breaking policies and procedures. So, my man John, you bring up a very valid question, and one that's often posed in a lot of different ways, and that is, how do we gain compliance from our team? We talk about in the security industry how we gain compliance from subjects, how we gain compliance from people that we're dealing with generally in a negative sense or a negative situation. But when you're talking about your team members, when you're talking about people that are your subordinates, people that are working under you or working for you, how do you gain that compliance? I'm going to give you 5 simple tips that I think would help. Number 1, it's very, very, very important to paint the vision. Now, you spoke about in your question some things that the people are doing that they shouldn't be doing. You said that it's not in your job description. It's not in the post orders. So what I would try to do is paint the vision of what it is that you guys are supposed to be doing, why you're there, and also why it's important to not be doing those things. I think if you can create a better vision around what it is that you guys should be doing as opposed to what you shouldn't be doing, you might get a little bit more buy-in from the team. Number 2 is to set the example. When we're working in a leadership role, when we're working in a supervisory position, for a lot of us, that can be a position where, maybe we haven't been in that position before. Maybe we haven't had a position of authority before. And depending on your level of experience with interacting with and dealing with subordinates, you might come off a little bit too harsh. So what I would say, again, with painting that vision of why you guys are there, what you're supposed to be doing, try to set the example of what you want to see from your officers. If they're going out and they're handing out drinks, if they're cleaning up, they're doing some of these things, in a lot of ways, that to me does not sound like something that I wouldn't want our officers doing. Now, again, I understand if that's not in the post orders and that's not what you guys are there for, you have to kind of temper that. But as the supervisor, if you're there on site, I would be setting that example, dealing with those clients, interacting with those customers, whatever it is that you're supposed to be performing. If you can set that example as to what you guys should be doing and how it should be done, I think that will also go a long way in kind of setting the tone for what's expected. Number 3 is going to be addressing the issue and not the individual. For me as a supervisor, me as a business owner, me as a boss in the past, this has been one of my biggest blind spots. I have caught myself many times, or I've been called out on this many times, of addressing the individual and not the issue. If the issue is what they're doing, if the issue is the tasks that they're performing, it is very important to make sure that you're addressing that issue and not making it personal. A lot of times when we're in a supervisory role, when we're in a position of authority and we see something that's wrong, when we address the action too often, that becomes an addressing of the person themselves. Now, none of us like to be called out. None of us like to be, questioned or called to the carpet. I would really say maybe look into how you're addressing these issues. Are you having these conversations with these individuals in public? Are you calling out their actions in a public forum? All of these things can create resentment and cause the officers to have issues with you. Now, at the end of the day, if you're in a position of supervisor, you're in a position of boss, certain things have to be said, certain things have to be done, and it can't always be done in a way where you're holding someone's hand. But think about how you're addressing the situation, think about how you're addressing the problems, and see if there's a way that you can do that in private or you can do that in a way that's not calling someone's manhood out or putting them in a position where they feel like you're coming at them the wrong way. Try to address the issue and not the individual. Number 4 would be to share in the success. A lot of times when we're working in a role of supervisor, we are quick to point out where people are doing wrong, quick to point out where people are making mistakes. However, when the success comes or people are giving out praise or giving out positive feedback, a lot of times the supervisor or the company itself will take all of the credit. Make sure that if you're giving criticism, you're also sharing in the praise. It should be an equal 50-50. You should never be criticizing your company or criticizing your officers or your employees or your teammates more than you're praising them. It should be an equal 50-50 split of that. I don't want to say condemnation, but that correction of any actions, but also making sure that when the good times are there and when people are being successful and the company's being successful, sharing in that success. If the company is getting bonuses, those officers should be getting bonuses. If the company is getting praise, those officers should be getting praise. If you're sharing in the success, you'll find that you're getting a lot more buy-in from your officers when you have to make corrections. Number 5 is going to be to pay it forward. One of the biggest complaints that I've seen in the security industry is that there's just not a lot of room for advancement. If you are working in a supervisory role and you have some really solid officers, make sure that when an opportunity comes for those officers to move up into a management position, to move up into a trainer position, if you have connections or network opportunities that can help those people start their own companies or be successful, pay it forward. A lot of times officers feel that their growth in the industry is stunted because the supervisors, the companies are not helping them advance. Make sure that you're one of those supervisors, you're one of those people in charge that everybody knows, hey, when my time comes, this person isn't going to put their thumb on my success. If anything, they're going to fan those flames so that I can be more successful as well. Those would be my 5 tips on how to get more buy-in from the people that you're working with. And remember, at the end of the day, even though you're in a leadership position, even though that you're in a supervisor position, you're only as good as the people that are underneath you. If you don't have officers to work those contracts, sooner or later, you're going to be the person that's either working those contracts or taken out of that position. So you have to find a way to mitigate having people working under you as subordinates while at the same time giving them the opportunities to be successful, share in that success, and know that you have their back. It's a team effort. If you guys aren't on the same page, none of you will be successful. What do you guys think? What are your tips? What are your thoughts for this great individual who's going through this struggle? I know a lot of you have worked in supervisory roles and positions. Help him out. Drop some comments below and let us know what you think. All right? You guys be great. Take care.